It's 2026, and British roads are full of lorries. DAF, Scania, Volvo, Mercedes, Renault. Every single one foreign. Fast forward back 50 years to 1976, and British lorry manufacturers dominated their own market. ERF, Foden, Atkinson, AEC, Leyland, all British, all gone now. What happened? How did Britain go from building its own lorries to buying everyone else's? This is the grim reality of British lorries today. Walk into any British truck stop in 2026. Count the badges on the lorries. DAF from the Netherlands, Scania from Sweden, Volvo from Sweden, Mercedes from Germany, Renault from France, Iveco from Italy, MAN from Germany. Not a single British brand. Zero. None. This is the reality. Britain doesn't build lorries anymore. Not really. Yes, DAF has a factory in Leyland. They build almost every DAF registered in the UK there. But DAF is Dutch, owned by American company PACCAR. That Leyland factory, it used to be Leyland Trucks. British company. British brand. Now, it's just an assembly plant for a Dutch brand owned by Americans. The market tells the story. In February 2025, it was announced that DAF achieved its 30th consecutive year of market leadership, with a 28.4% market share above 6 tonnes in 2024. 30 years as the UK's #1 truck brand. An unprecedented record. But it's not a British achievement. It's a Dutch brand assembled in Britain. There are no British lorry manufacturers left, none operating, none building trucks. The industry is dead, completely dead. Let's count the British lorry manufacturers that don't exist anymore. AEC, gone. Southall factory closed May 25, 1979. The AEC name disappeared from vehicles in 1977. Leland killed it through mismanagement and the failed Fate engine project. Guy, gone, closed in 1982, merged into Leyland. The Guy name disappeared. Another casualty of Leyland's corporate chaos. Atkinson, gone, merged with Sedan to form Sedan Atkinson in 1974. Couldn't compete with foreign quality. Eventually absorbed by Iveco, the Atkinson name died. Scammell, gone. The Watford factory closed in July 1988. Scammell had built specialist trucks since 1921. Heavy haulage legends, tank transporters, all finished. DAF bought Leyland and closed Scammell immediately. Bedford, gone. General Motors pulled out of UK truck production completely. Bedford couldn't compete with modern European trucks. The brand died in the mid-1980s. Albion, gone. Part of Leyland, closed and absorbed. The name disappeared decades ago. Thornycroft, gone. Closed in 1972. The Nubian range transferred to Scammell. Then Scammell closed too. Commer, gone. Absorbed into various corporate mergers. The brand disappeared. ERF. This one hurts. ERF was founded in 1933 by Edwin Richard Foden. The company survived until 2002. The Middlewich factory closed in 2002. MAN discontinued the ERF brand in 2007. ERF fought hard, built good trucks, reliable, solid, but they were seen as gaffers' trucks. Cheap to run but lacking the prestige of Scania or Volvo. Drivers didn't want them. Western Star bought ERF in 1996, then sold it to MAN in 2000. MAN found financial irregularities. ERF made losses despite claiming profits. MAN sued for £300 million. The litigation lasted years. MAN won, but ERF died anyway. The Middlewich factory closure ended 69 years of ERF production, workers cried. Local pubs emptied. A Cheshire town lost its identity. Foden. This one hurts too. Foden built lorries since 1856. 150 years of truck manufacturing. Steam wagons. Diesel lorries, quality engineering. Packard bought Foden in 1980. Production moved from Sandbach to the Leyland plant to reduce costs. Foden became rebadged DAF trucks, not real Fodens, just DAF wearing Foden badges. The last Foden was produced in July 2006, an 8x4 rigid, delivered to the British Commercial Vehicle Museum. That was it. 150 years of Foden finished. The brand retired to free up capacity for more DAF production. Leyland, the biggest name of all. Leyland Motors once dominated British commercial vehicles. Huge company, massive output, global exports. British Leyland collapsed through mismanagement, government bailouts, corporate chaos, failed products, union disputes. Everything went wrong. In 1987, Leyland Trucks merged with DAF to form DAF NV, Leyland DAF. The Leyland brand died. The factory survived as Leyland Trucks, but only builds DAF vehicles now. Packard bought it in 1998. Leyland Trucks still exists, still operates, still builds lorries, but they're all DAF. The Leyland brand is dead. The nameplate doesn't exist anymore. British workers assemble Dutch trucks. That's the roll call. Every major British lorry manufacturer, all dead, all gone, all finished. British lorry manufacturers died for simple reasons. They ignored drivers. British trucks in the 1960s and 1970s had cramped cabs, terrible seats, poor heating, excessive noise. When Scania and Volvo arrived with spacious cabs and real comfort, drivers demanded them. Fleet operators discovered driver comfort mattered. Drivers stayed longer in comfortable trucks. Lower turnover meant lower costs. Comfortable trucks paid for themselves. British manufacturers focused on fleet managers and accountants. Low purchase price, fuel economy. They ignored the people who actually drove their trucks. When drivers had a choice, they chose Swedish trucks. This forced fleet operators to buy foreign trucks. They also had quality problems. British trucks were assembled, not engineered. Components didn't fit properly. Panels rattled. Swedish trucks were engineered. Everything fit perfectly. Quality was obvious. Underinvestment killed them too. British manufacturers didn't invest in new cab designs, didn't develop powerful engines. They tried to compete with 1960s designs against 1980s competition. When they finally tried to respond, it was too late. Leyland developed the T45 road train in 1980. Good truck. But Scania and Volvo already owned the market. Corporate chaos destroyed them. British Leyland was a disaster. Mergers that didn't work. Management that didn't understand trucks. Government interference. Everything went wrong. Leyland killed AEC. Killed Guy. Killed Scammell. Corporate decisions destroyed brands that should have survived. ERF survived longer because it stayed independent, but market reality caught up. They couldn't compete with multinational corporations. Foden survived by being bought by Packard, but Packard killed the brand anyway to make room for more DAF production. The death of British lorry manufacturing destroyed communities. Sandbach lost Foden and ERF, two massive employers, thousands of jobs. When the factories closed, everything changed. Middlewich lost ERF. The factory was the town's biggest employer. Skilled workers, engineers, designers, all gone. Southall lost AEC. The factory opened in 1927, closed in 1979, 52 years ended, thousands unemployed. Watford lost Scammell. The Talpitts Lane site became an office park. The Camelot Group runs the National Lottery from there now. Leyland survived, but changed completely. British workers building Dutch trucks for American owners. Bathgate in West Lothian lost British Leyland's truck factory. The factory was demolished. Today there's almost no physical evidence it existed. These weren't just job losses, they were skill losses. Engineering knowledge built over decades disappeared. Apprenticeships ended. The knowledge base died. British truck manufacturing employed tens of thousands directly, many more indirectly through suppliers. All gone. Communities that built their identities around truck manufacturing lost those identities. The psychological impact was severe. Pride in British engineering destroyed. Almost nothing. Leyland Trucks builds DAF vehicles. That's it. One factory, one brand, not British, just assembled in Britain. DAF chose to keep the Leyland factory because of skilled workers and good location, not because they wanted British manufacturing. The factory is efficient, modern, productive. Leyland Trucks built 24,700 trucks in 2008, but they were all DAF trucks, not British trucks. PACCAR, DAF's parent company, also owns Kenworth and Peterbilt in America. Leyland Trucks is just a DAF factory. The workers are British, the skills are British, but the trucks aren't. Some British truck brands survive in preservation. The AEC Society, Scammell Register, Foden enthusiasts. These groups keep memories alive, but they don't build new trucks. The British Commercial Vehicle Museum preserves truck history. AEC, ERF, Foden, Atkinson, Guy, Scammell. All on display, all dead. Museums are where dead industries go. The UK lorry market is healthy, just not British. In 2023, UK lorry registrations grew 13.5%, 46,227 new trucks registered. The market is growing, but they're all foreign. DAF leads, Scania second, Volvo third, Mercedes, Renault, Iveco, MAN, all foreign. Drivers are happy. Modern trucks are comfortable, powerful, efficient. Nobody misses British trucks except older drivers. Younger drivers don't know British trucks ever existed. Fleet operators are happy. Modern trucks are reliable. Dealer networks are excellent. The driver shortage affects the industry. At the height of the crisis in 2021, the UK needed 100,000 more drivers. Brexit made it worse. An ageing workforce made it worse. But truck quality isn't the problem. Working conditions are the problem. Pay is the problem. Electric trucks are arriving. Volvo, Scania, DAF, Mercedes, all developing electric lorries. The UK government wants heavy goods vehicles to be net zero by 2040. British manufacturers won't participate in this transition. They don't exist. Foreign manufacturers will build electric trucks. Foreign manufacturers will profit from Britain's transition to zero emissions. Yes, British manufacturers could have survived if they'd invested in driver comfort in the 1960s, if they'd matched Scania's spacious cabs before Scania dominated the market, if they'd invested in quality, if they'd engineered trucks instead of assembling components, if they'd developed powerful engines, if British Leyland hadn't been a corporate disaster, if management had understood trucks, if mergers had been planned properly, if they'd recognised that truck manufacturing was going international. That scale mattered. That British dominance wasn't guaranteed. But they didn't. They were complacent, arrogant, wrong. Some people blame unions, some blame management, some blame government. The truth is, everyone shares blame. But mainly, they built inferior products. British trucks were worse than Swedish trucks. Worse quality, worse comfort, worse everything. When products are inferior, markets punish you. British manufacturers died. They deserve to die. Britain builds no lorries of its own anymore. The skills still exist. The workers still exist. The factory still exists. But the brands are gone. The identity is gone. The pride is gone. When you see a lorry on British roads today, it's foreign. Always. DAF, Scania, Volvo, Mercedes, Renault, all foreign. British lorry manufacturers assumed British operators would buy British trucks forever. They were wrong. Operators bought better trucks instead. Those trucks came from Sweden, from Germany, from the Netherlands. Now, those foreign manufacturers dominate British roads, make billions from British freight, employ British workers, but keep the profits abroad. That's the grim reality of British lorries today. total dependence on foreign manufacturers for an essential industry, permanent end of a proud engineering tradition. The golden age of British lorries is over. It's never coming back. Memories, museums, foreign trucks assembled in British factories by British workers for foreign corporations. A nation that once built the world's trucks, now a nation that only assembles other nations' trucks.